Welcome CLC Sports USA Army. Let the banter commence as we take a look at Liverpool's deadline day signings. And we're going to spend a couple of minutes on each signing, kind of looking at who they are and what they're going to be able to bring to our squad. And first off, we're going to look at Victor Moses. Victor Moses signs from Chelsea. Victor Moses, we kind of look back at a little bit of his previous history, and of course he really brought his name to prominence in the U14 for Crystal Palace when he scored over 50 goals. I believe that is correct. That is fantastic, and from there on out, he's just kind of rose his way up. Crystal Palace to Wigan, Wigan to Chelsea, and now he's on a season-long loan at Liverpool, meaning we will have to give him back at the end of the season if we decide not to try to pursue a complete and a permanent signing. We can kind of look at some of his bio here. He's 22 years of age, and you see his height and the way he come up on the screen as well. It's a picture of Victor Moses. That's not anything that you don't know already. But we kind of take a look at his strengths and weaknesses, and this is just a big summary of it. He has pace and power and can be a real attacking force when charging forward with the ball, but yet he is wasteful in front of goal sometimes, and his decision-making could improve. And I think the reason that he can be a real attacking force is because sometimes his decision-making is poor, and that goes hand in hand because if his decision-making was better, I think he would be a much more prominent attacking force. Kind of take a look at some of his stats from last season. He just has one start for Wigan Athletic before he transfers over to Chelsea Football Club, and you see that he only had 23 appearances in the Premier League for Chelsea last season, which isn't horrible, but 11 of those appearances coming from the bench. And that could be a little bit disappointing from Victor Moses' perspective, especially considering his return rate was very bad, only 23 appearances, but only one goal. And you kind of expect better out of him. But when you take a look overall at the Chelsea appearances that he had, you see that he had 43 Chelsea appearances, and he had 10 goals, which is not horrible whatsoever, because that is a goal basically every 4 games, which for a midfielder slash winger isn't really that bad. And honestly, he had 5 goals in 10 appearances in Europe, which is very good. So you see the potential is there for him to score goals. He can get forward, he can beat defenders, and he can score a goal. He's not incompetent when it comes to that, and while sometimes we might look at him as more of a chance creator, I think we need to also look for some goals out of him, and I think we're going to get some goals out of him. Now again, is he going to be starting every game? I'm not really sure. One thing I would say is I think we needed a little bit of added width, and you see the quote that comes up from Roberto Di Matteo. I think that's very important because sometimes our attack gets a little bit too narrow, and sometimes it keeps us from creating as many chances as we could create, and I think Victor Moses could very well give us that width, and I think the person that has to be most worried about his position on the pitch could be Iago Aspas, because I could see Brendan Rodgers moving Coutinho behind Daniel Sturridge, where I think he would be very effective, and putting Victor Moses out of the wing. Maybe you have a thought on that. Go ahead and leave a comment in the section down below. Looking at Mamadou Sakho, 23-year-old defender. We've signed him from PSG. He is 6 foot 2 inches, which is a decent size for a center back. And we look at some of his stats. He only had 24 starts for PSG, 3 bench appearances. But you know, all things considering, 27 appearances is not bad in a season. That was last season's statistics, especially when you were behind Thiago Silva and Alex. PSG, a very good defensive line, and albeit 2 very good Brazilian international center backs in there, he was able to get 27 appearances, which is very good. Now again, he scored 2 goals last season in those 27 appearances in League One, which, you know, for a center back, hey, you can contribute 2 or 3 goals. That is a very good thing. And so, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see the center back challenge and who is going to be the starting center back. Is it going to be Daniel Agger, Martin Skrtel, Sakho, Kolo Touré? I think the one defender that could really cement his place in there more full-time would be Daniel Agger, but I think it's going to be a fight between Touré, Skrtel, and Sakho to get into that defensive line. And I'm curious to hear, what do you guys think? Who do you guys think is going to be our 2 main center backs? I think rotation could be vital, but I also think you have to have 2 guys in there that have a very good partnership together and that really bond well and that can defend well all the time instead of just constantly rotating and switching in and out, which can be a very difficult thing on defensive pairs. So Mamadou Sakho, very good, solid defensive player that we've signed. Very good because we need that depth because of the injuries we've been experiencing through Kolo Touré and Martin Skrtel. Tiago Ilori, Portuguese defender that we've signed. He's most prominently known for his appearances for Portugal, and also he's had quite a few appearances for the B team of Sporting Lisbon. Now again, he hasn't had the most appearances as far as that's concerned, but again, this guy is only 20 years of age. He's a very young player, and he's a center back as well, which is going to just kind of develop him. Now again, I think he needs to be able to play, especially in things like the League Cup or whatever other league we happen to be playing in. But you know, he had 12 appearances for the Sporting Lisbon senior team between 2011 and 2013, and he had one goal in there. That was against, who was it against? I can't remember, but I remember that it was a 3-2 win. He had his team's second goal in the 6th minute. So, you know, this guy seems to be a very good, fast defender. If you remember back, maybe you don't remember this, but he played us in the Next Generation U19 tournament, and he scored at Anfield. So this is a player that I think we can really use. And again, you know, very young player, very positive signing. And I'm looking forward to seeing this guy get out on the pitch. And so we take a look at our three defenders. Very good signings made by Brendan Rodgers. And you saw on Liverpool's website that they had Rodgers is extremely delighted with the signings that he's able to make. And, you know, it's been a very positive window. And we've seen three fantastic signings. And so I'm curious to hear what you guys think about these signings and what you guys think about our deadline deals. Other news in the Premier League, the biggest one perhaps, Mesut Ozil going to Arsenal. Curious to hear what you guys think about that. But I'm going to leave these thoughts with you guys. And so that is it for the CLC Sports USA man, Christopher Check. And leave a comment on the three signings below. And if you've enjoyed this presentation, don't forget to leave a like. So that is it, and we'll see you guys next time.